Uh, they are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now aren't.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Welcome to the show. It's time for conspiracies or cock-ups, mysteries and secrets of the world. So we got some deep, heavy stuff to discuss tonight, or at least it's deep in my opinion. I don't know. So I was doing some research, and polls reveal that over 90% of American people believe in UFOs, and 95% of those people believe that the government is hiding information about those UFOs from the public. So why? So are they afraid that people are going to panic if they find out that there's aliens and there's an announcement made? Or I think that such an announcement would create a buzz and creativity and things amazing would happen, but that's just me. So sightings of UFOs have been reported throughout history, and biblical and historic references to flaming chariots, huge flying birds, and odd-looking beings predate our history by thousands of years. In the 1940s, several alien spacecrafts were recovered by the U.S., apparently, and other countries, along with a few dead aliens, and one live that they actually named Ebe, E-B-E, which was a name suggested by Dr. Vannevar Bush, which is of no relation, as I've been able to research, to the Bush family that was in the presidency. So, and it was short for extraterrestrial biological entity. So let's just get right into it, I guess. The show's not necessarily going to be about aliens specifically. Well, it is actually kind of.
It kind of is.
It kind of is. There's a whole lot of stories about the majority 12. The speculation around the Greada Treaty, which was signed by, allegedly signed by President Eisenhower, and this whole New World Order thing that is going to be potentially a result of all of this. I read a comic book when I was a kid, and the comic book was Captain America, and it was the character that was opposing Captain America was a guy called Flag Smasher, and Flag Smasher's mission was to attack all of the nations that weren't in cohesiveness, so that they would all come together to defeat him. So he's kind of like an alien, and that's what the gist of what I've been reading today was, that these aliens are out to get us, more or less, and we have to join forces in order to defeat them. That's why there's been a lot of talk from President Bush, Henry Kissinger, President Obama, and so on and so forth about New World Order, one world government, which is being inched closer and closer to reality. So, what do you guys say about that on the other side of the table here?
Well, I think if the alien things are true, then I think you are right. A lot of scientists back up or admit that there is a high potential of life or extraterrestrial activity outside our own. So if the government are keeping information from us, then it is maybe to hide something more sinister. Because if scientists themselves agree, the vast majority of them do say that or believe that there is something out there. It's just a matter of time. But if there is something that's already here on our planet, perhaps, then maybe it's been hidden for all the wrong reasons, and I'm interested to know what those fucking reasons are.
I'm so glad you dropped it like that, because I believe the same thing actually. Like, it was quite scary because, like, I don't even know how to explain. I think you've explained it to a flipping T, to be honest, mate. Like, that's exactly what it is. There has to be something more sinister at hand for them to not disclose it, because they would. I don't think there would generally be panic if these were benevolent beings at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
but
If they wanted to cause some shit, surely they would have done it by now. Because the way I see it is, if we haven't ourselves as a species, the human species, haven't reached out to someone, that means we are technologically or some aspect behind. So if someone has come to us first,
Yes.
that can only mean in my head that they are some way or another more advanced than us to reach us rather than us reach them.
exactly.
So if they have
Okay,
done-
I want to take exception with that comment. The reason being is because what we were discussing or going to be discussing to a certain point is this Greada Treaty, which basically I'll give you a background on it. Correct me if I say anything that you take exception with. The treaty was brought forth by the President Dwight Eisenhower when he had come into this encounter with these Greys. The aliens, they were called the Greys, and essentially the aliens wanted to come to this planet in order to do research because they were dying, their planet was dying, so they wanted to come here and then do research, and they had agreed to allow them to take cattle and take certain people as long as they weren't harmed in exchange for technology. So that lends to what you were saying about technology or about things like that. But if they were so advanced, why would they need to come to America in order to research on humans? If they're at that level,
They would already know.
they should already know what this is all about.
See.
This little
Those guys, the actual guys that actually crashed first here, first landed, there's a couple documents that state they were actually rebels of their own planet. So
who says that shit, or is that just something just used to help substantiate the claim?
that's the
I'm gonna play
conversation.
devil's
There's-
advocate all
No,
day.
there's
I'm
a
gonna
if
battle
I
you
had
on
a
it.
Mac
so.
like him, I would have so many tabs open right now. I swear to you.
you can share.
You can share. Come on, we can do some
Easy.
research during the show. But,
Easy, try and maneuver it through.
But
You can
yeah,
share.
I'm telling you, they said they were rebels from their own planet, and they actually got exiled from their planet. So they started giving us metals that wasn't even on our planet, like hidden elements you hear about that are about not about until you research them and see they fucking exist, and some serious stuff. Like there's things that are out there that are harder than diamonds, like called graphene. Like that's, I don't know, but
But then,
They're not
but then, what's
doing
to
it.
say that just didn't fly past and hit an asteroid and some guys with their what are those things called? The metal detectors.
detectors.
Yeah, one of those. He was going through his day-to-day life and he was like, oh, I know there's an asteroid that crashed over there, and he picked up some of that material, and then he's like, oh shit, this stuff's better than diamonds.
well,
And
see,
he's like,
that would have been reported though, don't you think, like that?
well, not if there was something for him to gain. He was like, I ain't telling anyone about this shit. Do you know what I mean? He was like, there's some good stuff right here.
Yes, no.
All right, so during the latter part of the Second World War, World War II, there'd been lots of credible reports of unidentified flying objects. And before I move forward with that, and I get into this debate with my girlfriend all the time, just because you say unidentified flying object doesn't necessarily mean spaceship.
Exactly.
Okay, I can throw a plate up in the air, and if it flies by you fast enough without you being able to see it, you are unable to identify that flying object. Okay, so let's really think about what we're saying. So, anyway, the General Douglas MacArthur had generated his own interplanetary phenomena unit during the World War II. And General MacArthur would later be fired by the subsequent president, Harry Truman, in 1951. And during a meeting with the New York Times in 1955, MacArthur said that the nations of the world will have to unify, for the next war will be an interplanetary war. The nations of the earth must someday make a common front against an attack by people from other planets. Why would he say that back in 1950?
Why would he say something something that could be perceived as so sort of outlandish and conspiracy theoretical? And
right.
All that.
So that lends us to the New World Order. So that what they're saying now is that nations have to, come together on a common front. Like I said earlier about them attacking all the comic book guy attacking all the nations, get them to join together. And it seems like a lot of these nations, or at least in America, they're talking about creating this one world government, this centralized banking system, the centralized military system, and I don't know how, if you guys know anything about NWO or not, but what do you think about that? Nothing.
Little clueless on that.
Double O.
New World Order.
The New World Order. Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Actually, sorry guys. Have you heard of the New World Order testaments? No. I've got them actually right here. Actually, if you want to hear it.
No, I don't want you to read a bunch of shit off the internet.
It's on Wikipedia. It's
all right.
really
First
exists.
of all, let me tell you a little story about Wikipedia before we go forward with anything.
I know anyone can write on Wikipedia.
Right. So the stuff that you read on Wikipedia is not credible.
This thing really exists.
It's not credible.
But this,
have you seen it?
Stonehenge.
Have you touched it?
It's on this planet. It's like, what's the original Stonehenge called? Just Stonehenge, isn't it?
Right. There are multiple Stonehenges throughout the world.
Well, this one,
the one here in England,
in Georgia,
right?
In Georgia,
not the
8 different
the
languages.
Stones. No, don't talk about that.
What do you mean don't talk about that?
Because I was going to talk about that at a more relevant time of the story. That doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about now. That has to do with population reduction. Has to do with, those are the Georgia Guidestones, right? I know what that is. I know exactly what that is. They want to reduce the population to a manageable size. If you haven't seen Utopia, I highly fucking recommend you guys go see Utopia. Get it on, stream it from the internet or wherever you can find it. Find it. Have you seen it?
No. See, what's the first film you said about Mars?
You go, before we even further this communication, you need to see Utopia. Now I'm going to explain to you what Utopia is.
Go on.
Utopia was a television program that came out on, I want to say BBC or Sky, one of the two.
BBC, yes.
Right.
I remember that.
Channel 4.
Right, it was on Channel 4, but it was brought forth by like BBC or something like that, or maybe Sky. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So
maybe.
So at any rate, the program was about exactly what we're talking about right now: population control, so on and stuff like that. The government getting away with stuff. It was so well done, and it was so amazing. They did 2 seasons of it.
2 seasons,
and then they were renewed to do a 3rd season, and they didn't bring out the 3rd season. Ooh. So they said that we had decided to explore some other programming options. This was a massively successful show, okay? Yes. It was so accurate to some of the shit that was going on in real life that they had to yank it off the air because the people were probably, it was
almost like forecasting events.
Yeah.
It was so on point. Highly recommend it to the listeners and viewers and you.
Yes,
Utopia.
I definitely want to watch it.
It is.
I definitely do. It sounds amazing.
Right. So in 1953, President Eisenhower, or actually Eisenhower became president, took charge of post-war nation, but continued, with the continued threat of the Soviet Union, obviously, from over here in Europe and Korea. That meant that the U.S. needed to up their military game. And President Eisenhower was known as an avid golfer, and he booked a retreat, apparently, to Smoke Tree Ranch, which is in Palm Springs, California, 1954. This drew very little attention, apparently, from the press, because he's a golfer. He's a president. He does what he wants to do. And when President fucks off to go play golf. No one really cares that much. Even now, they take a few pictures and he's out of there. So the press corps thought maybe, you know, there was like apparently this noticeable absence of him on the course. He wasn't there. You know, he went to this place to play golf. No one had seen him. So the press went nuts, thought maybe he had some kind of serious illness or even had died, right? So they released a statement. You know, the U.S. press secretary called a press conference and said that he had broke a crown on one of his teeth, and they had to have oral surgery. So, which, you know, a lot of people believed and some said, you know, whatever. So, but anyway, there were rumors that the president had taken to Edwards Air Force Base in California under strict security in a prearranged top secret meeting with your Greys, the Gray aliens. And
the first encounter that was, I believe, well, when they said that was when the first encounter between extraterrestrials happened face to face.
Okay.
Is that?
I don't know. So this event remained secret until April 16th of 1954 when one of the consultants that was actually present there, his name was Gerald Light, he was an expert in metaphysics in California, Los Angeles area, wrote a letter to his friend. And the letter, portions of the letter had read that the report is true, devastatingly true. I had the distinct feeling that the world would come to an end with fantastic realism, for I've never seen so many human beings in a state of complete collapse and confusion as they realized that their own world had indeed ended. During my 2 days visit, I saw 5 separate and distinct types of aircraft being studied and handled by our Air Force officials with the assistance and permissions of the Etherians. Those are the Greys.
Yeah.
Right? I have no words to express my reactions. It has finally happened. It is now a matter of history. So President Eisenhower never revealed any of this stuff to the general public. Apparently he was there as well. And these aliens had made themselves invisible to him, and he pretty much was just left in awe. What else could he have felt from that? But that's when your treaty came forth. They said, you know, we're dying, we need to come here and live underground. And they were in Arizona and Nevada and some other places in the west, on the western part of the country, and they agreed to let them test on humans and animals and so on and so forth. So
you got the permission to do likewise as well, mind you.
To be what?
To desecrate their friend, basically, and investigate on their friend.
Whose
The
friend?
one that died after the crash.
Oh, one of the aliens.
Yeah,
oh, okay. Yeah. So tell me more about that. I don't know anything about that. That's all I know.
No, apparently they just went to take the body back into space.
My research and
no,
my findings that I was doing earlier suggested that there was actually 2 different types of alien initially. So there was aircraft that was seen coming towards Earth, and there were scientists set up I think it was called Operation either Sigma or Pluto or
Project Sigma and Project Pluto,
where they sent binary computer messages
into the sky, yes.
into the sky, and they were received.
We got some
And
back.
so the aircraft apparently hovered at a high point in the atmosphere around the equator while this meeting was taking place, and apparently one of the species warned that we should disarm our nuclear weapons, we should stop raping the world of its resources, and we should unify and be harmoniously together, as a warning or sort of a heads up, as you will. Whereas the other ones that we have been in contact to came directly to us and said, we will give you technology, you give us some people, let's make this happen.
See, that's the funniest thing, because of all these disclosed actually contact coming back, one, these things never actually go worldwide, and they still discuss the potentiality of life being out there, knowing they've had these things said back to them. And the funniest thing is, I thought you was actually going to talk about the first experiment they did when they first did that. A planet actually from the Draco star system sent us a code back, and their planet was dying, and they asked us for help and everything. And apparently the scientists were saying the message was very like more emotional and this, that, and that forth, and how they were going to leave from their planet if they can't get help. It was very mad. So glad you brought those two different separate.
But I just find it
ones up.
quite difficult to understand. Maybe it's how my brain works. I'm not a very scientific sort of guy, but if you send like a binary message, how do extraterrestrials or whatever's out there know to receive that signal as a
It'd be like
communication
Bluetooth, isn't
signal?
it? It's infrared at the end of the day, so like it'd be like a Bluetooth. There's shit
Then
would
how
pick
would
up something
language
going by.
and there must be so many barriers. Like how would they?
Understand full stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's our definition of help and their definition of attack?
But binary is
Like-
just numbers.
Yeah, but
So
it's
it
a
would-
human
would-
concept, is
would-
it not? Sort of.
I think it would deprogram into whatever machine they have. If the machine reads it as numbers, it would decipher it into a language they had readable for.
if
it as
their
numbers.
machines are powered by numbers. So if
That's
their
a-
machines are powered
that's a
by
whole
something,
new
exactly. Well,
relativity
that's
there.
where I'm having trouble finding sort of. I mean, a lot of information that I've read supports that there's been suppressed information about UFOs, and such a vast majority of Americans, 95% of them, believe that the
They're out
government
there.
are hiding some UFOs or stuff like that from them. That's a massive proportion of the populations. They're the 5% that don't know,
Would
probably
be
don't
them.
have internet or something. So I'm just having a bit of struggle understanding how the communication is actually coming into place to make all of this happen. But I guess I won't know until I find out.
Well,
It's a scary
you'll probably find out in October. Apparently, there's all kinds of speculatory
What's meant to be happening on
conversation.
October? Yeah, you
I
said-
don't know.
I don't know.
All I know is
He
that a
doesn't
lot
know.
of very wealthy people that exist in the United States are leaving the United States, and they're saying, get out. October is when something big is going to happen. So today, the government's on the horns of the dilemma. I'm reading this because these are my notes, so if I'm not looking you guys directly in the eye, that's too bad. So too many sources are revealing alien information. The public could get angry at continued secrecy. So there's plans soon to make an official announcement under controlled conditions, probably like Area 51 or something like that. And there's going to be network televisions will be called to meet this so-called staged landing of aliens, these being the Greys. And I say this is all staged because as we're having the conversation now with the understanding, or at least I'm not thinking of the word that I want, that these aliens do exist and they're existing underneath these bases and so on, and they have these cities down there, and we already know, but the government doesn't want us to know because we're going to freak out and our heads are going to explode like we're watching Scanners. So they're planning to have this first contact, close encounters of a third kind type thing at some undisclosed location. They'll come bearing gifts and technology, the cures for AIDS, the cure for cancer. They can slow down your aging process, so on and so forth. They'll tell us that we are, saviors of humanity who have come to defend the earth against an invasion of man-eating aliens called reptoids. So that's kind of what you were saying earlier about them saying that there's going to be good aliens and bad aliens, right? That's bullshit. That's all bullshit, apparently, from the research that I've done. Again, all of this is speculation. Like I say on every episode where I sit down here and put on a freaking jacket, it's all my research. This is what I've come up with. If you don't agree with it, I want you to go out and find out for yourself. Don't take my word as the gospel. I am not the news, and don't believe anything that the news is telling you either, because there's an agenda there as well. So the truth has no agenda. Remember that. So at any rate, they've already, like some people say that they already work for these reptoids. reptilian, these reptilian people. Like I've watching stuff on YouTube where they're saying, oh, Hillary Clinton, she's a reptile, and
Just watch this
look-
video.
right.
Doesn't he just shape shift right
yeah,
there?
right, that kind of bullshit. So their plans to unify the world into a one world government. This is what a lot of people are thinking right now.
Smartest way to take over the world as a whole.
Yeah, so a new world order with the argument that only this can defeat the invasion of your evil aliens that you were talking about. So as long as we come together with these aliens, we can defeat the other aliens. But apparently this is supposedly is a trap to enslave the world population. Control will be accomplished through the money system, a universal currency, like I said earlier, right? Controlled by certain international bankers. You only have Rothschilds, and they only have like 3 or 4 people that have all the money right now, So for years we've been, lackeys of the aliens because these guys are already in cahoots with the aliens, apparently, according to the sources that I've been in contact with, and they've seized upon their greed and lust for wealth and power, and as a means to bring their evil plan to control the earth. So
the same agenda that they have right now is nothing different to that of Hitler's. Like you mentioned last show as well, a lot of the stuff that Hitler was trying to do has been following on in the years on. So back then, Hitler apparently had a deal with the Nordics. They were white, blonde-haired, blue eyes, which to me makes perfect sense because I never actually got why Hitler loved blonde, white, blue eyes because he was Austrian. He wasn't blonde, blue eyes. He was black-haired. So it was very weird. But when I came across that, apparently he made his deal with them to overthrow the world and make the whole world white, blonde, blue-eyed, and that failed for him. But his body's never been found, and the rumor is he's on the other side of the world apparently. So
well, he's dead by now. I'm
Hopefully
pretty.
so.
Well, if
I'm
the
pretty-
claims to stop
so.
all disease and slow down aging to a whole are true,
he could be
we
out there
don't know.
working.
We don't
You
know
don't
for
know
sure.
until you know.
Little
So
cybernoid body, like.
Well, I think he's probably as dead as
I
Disco,
pray.
but
Because their agenda's still on regardless, isn't it, though?
yeah, I'm gonna do another show, but I'm not gonna get too into it right now about Islam, radical Islam, and how their teachings are coming directly from Hitler. They've sent over people to work with the Nazis that were in the Nazi camps, and they brought all of their teachings back and created the Muslim Brotherhood. The 2 most popular books that Hitler used as propaganda tools are the same 2 books that they use right now over in radical Islam as well.
They were the Heavenlands ones.
Yeah, they had the Hitler Youth, and now they have the Islamic Youth. They have all these parallels to
so
what
crazy.
took place over there. And this guy was telling that you shouldn't send the Jews to these countries because they won't be safe. This Muslim, they had a unified understanding that they wanted to wipe out the Jews, and they said you shouldn't send them to this country, that country, the other country. They should all be sent to where they'll be safe. They should be sent to somewhere like Poland where they can be safe. Well, we all know that's where Auschwitz was. They sent him to Poland because he had toured these camps, and he knew that if they went to Poland that they were going to be rounded up and subsequently murdered. So yeah, that's crazy stuff. So let's take a quick break, and we're going to listen to Junkyard Scientists, I guess, and we'll be right back to discuss something a bit more deeper than what we've been discussing already. Stay tuned.
I don't think you definitely for me. Sometimes, baby girl, I think that you will blow. So why you make me fall like a domino?
Don't you know them switches in your mind can be trippy all the time? Oh, Mr. Cole, you call my stare with that crystal ball. Hard on the outside, but so shippable. Don't you know them switches in your mind can be trippy all the time? Oh, what do we have today? Another game to play. Draw me some good cards, I can't tell what's in store for me. I'm feeling full of flavor, cut them quicker like a saber. No, it's dangerous, I'm prepared, oh yeah, here's my waiver. You know the way you got me singing it, and you know the way you got me singing it, and you know the way you got me singing it, and you know the way you got me singing it feels real nice. So mystical, you call my stare with that crystal ball. Hard on the outside, but so shippable. Don't you know them switches in your mind can be trippy all the time? Oh, mystical, you call my stare with that crystal ball. Hard on the outside, but so shippable. Don't you know them switches in your mind can be trippy all the time? Oh.
Touch my heart like a fortune teller. Oh, make me feel better. Bring my heart to my soul and
What do we have today? Another game to play. Draw me some good cards, I can't tell what's in store for me. I'm feeling full of flavor, cut them quicker like a saber. No, it's dangerous, I'm prepared again, here's my waiver. You know the way you got me singing it, and you know the way you got me singing it, and I like the way you got me dreaming it, and you know the way you got me singing it feels real nice. Oh yeah, it feels real nice. And all mystical, you call my stare with that crystal ball. Hard on the outside, but so chippable. Don't you know them switches in your mind can be trippy all the time? Oh, mystical, you call my stare with that crystal ball. Hard on the outside, but so chippable. And don't you know them switches in your mind? They make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. Wow! You make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. Yeah, you make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. Yeah, you make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. Yeah, you make me trippy all the time. You make me trippy all the time. Trippy all the time.
Just scrolling it.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. Was Junkyard Scientists. That's one of Aunt Vivian's hookups. They're friends with her. So before we went to break, we were talking about what were we talking about? Knowledge of alien life being kept from the people. Things like interaction between us and them, war, they're keeping us from getting our heads blown off by the bad aliens, things like that. So I don't know why they allegedly keep a secret from us. The Area 51 stuff has been a secret for ages. We don't know what goes on out at Groom Lake. I know if you go within a certain radius of that place, they have authority to shoot and kill you without any questions. They will.
Has anyone, do you think, been murdered like that?
I don't think so. So you would have to be pretty stupid. And any of those people out there that are really trying to commit suicide by cop, that would probably be the place to do it, I would assume. At least, and if you got in, you could be like,
Yeah.
you know, I saw some shit.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I may stay around for a bit longer.
So
Take a few selfies.
I wouldn't be surprised if the government's hiding all kinds of stuff. They were always hiding stuff from us. I actually used to work with a guy when I lived in LA. whose father was in some branch of the military, and he would always tell us about all the cool stuff that his father would tell him about that the military had, but they hadn't let go to the public. You know, so like technology and things like that. You know, things that they had.
Yeah.
You know, and then a lot of stuff is classified and top secret, and you know some of it's weaponry and like this whole HARP thing that I went in on a few episodes back.
Geoengineering,
Yeah, we don't know what that HARP thing. They're saying it's just, you know, like they could be seriously using warfare with the weather, you know. So we don't know that. We don't know for
Yeah,
sure.
they say. I
Destroying
mean,
countries,
the pretense behind that is they're saying it's like, obviously if we can manipulate the clouds and we can have rainfall on areas of land that haven't seen rain in 100 or 200 years, and that we can help the food of the world. Yeah, that's great on that side of the
Is
spectrum.
that how they try to explain
That's
it?
how they're gonna.
Well, they're
pass
always
it
gonna
off. But
spin
then,
it off as it being a
but what's
positive.
yeah, exactly. But what's the deeper meaning? Earthquakes, flooding,
Volcano
killing
eruptions.
killing off the population in a way that's not actually killing.
Yeah.
With a gun.
Well,
or
directly, yeah.
Directly. So I mean, it's
different kind of warfare, isn't it? So I actually was watching something where a guy, I wish I could remember what his title was, but he had met with these Japanese a high level government guy. I don't know what his title was, but at any rate, he was saying how the Americans had approached him, and they were trying to make the American government had approached him, and they were trying to make this deal with their government to do this, that, and the other. And if they didn't want to do this deal with them, then you know something might happen, right? So they didn't want to do the deal, and then that massive tsunami took place 2 days later, right? So they wiped out and killed all those people. There was that huge earthquake, and then the subsequent tsunami, and then wiped out all those people. Don't know if that's what happened with HARP or not, but you know they're saying that the weather control might have contributed to that. But we're straying from topic, so we're deviating from the point, and we get back on track. So Russia is saying that the U.S. needs to get on the ball with letting their people know that aliens do exist. So we found this article. You were actually talking about it before we even started recording. Where'd you find the article, or is there anything other than what we're reading here that you know about?
Which article exactly?
The one that we were talking about before about Russia saying they need to let the U.S. needs to let people know.
That's just been everywhere all over the net. As far as like whenever something goes on like that, it's always all over the net. But it's just from the media sources you wouldn't exactly define to be reliable 24/7. Because like us just now, it's just coming from someone else who can relay that information they found out more time,
Right.
to let other people know. But yeah, that's been popping everywhere. They don't like the US now because the Greada Treaty states that the aliens they made a deal with should be declassified by 2015 to the public, basically. And the US is trying not to do that. As
Why?
true.
Why not though? Do you know? Have you read why they don't want to release, or
No, there's
and why
never-
2015?
Yeah, why 20? Because I don't know. I don't know personally.
Was there not something about the 2015 would mark the 50th year anniversary of the treaty, and that was the sort of milestone that they needed? So 50 years from then to now is roughly on that timescale, is it?
It's a good milestone as well. to be
Why would
honest.
they? I don't understand why. But I don't. We're assuming now that aliens use the same calendar that we
Yeah.
use then, which makes no fucking sense at all because they don't. So they don't have a Gregorian calendar, so I can't imagine. Well, I don't know if they do or don't, but it seems.
I don't know. Maybe if they spend quite a lot of time around here, they may have rubbed off on them.
They're like, oh, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that today. Thou shalt rest. So
How did the Mayan calendar come about?
the Mayan calendar.
Yeah.
The Mayan
Did we-
calendar
did
has already
we-
been proven to have been off as far as what scholars have interpreted to be. So that
Makes
whole
sense.
2012 thing, when we were supposed to have all been obliterated on December 21st, maybe is
No,
this year. or
2012
something.
was meant to be rightfully the alignment of the universe.
Yeah, planetary alignment. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bactunes and shit, but none
Yeah,
of that
we
happened.
wasn't meant to die. That was just
It was supposed to have been the end of the if you believe in like the Nostradamus and his predictions and his quatrains, his books with the Tree of Life and all that are gone during that time. So it was prophesized and conspiracized, if that's a word, to have been the end days. But regardless, nothing happened. My phone still worked the next day, so fucking who cares? Nothing happened. So Russia, the prime minister of Russia, said, sorry, he's not the prime minister. He's the minister, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Reported, it was the prime minister. It was Dmitry Medvedev's agenda at the World Economic Forum. This is back in February of this year. Stated that Russia will warn President Obama. I don't know if they have or have not. It says they will warn. That sounds like that was the warning there. But will warn President Obama that the time has come for the world to know the truth about aliens, and if the United States won't participate in the announcement, the Kremlin will do so on its own. So they have yet to do anything, to my knowledge, about it.
What I find interesting about that is that statement. What that entails is, it's to get that information of what he's saying. Is the only way you could have got that information is by infiltrating higher ups sort of areas of the United States, the FBI, stuff like that. So that's the only way he could have got that source of information from. It's not just easily accessible. So
not necessarily. They might have been visited as well. Yeah. So they might have been like, look, motherfucker, y'all need to get your shit together, because we're gonna take over your country too. They might be doing the same shit that they're doing in the U.S. over in Russia.
Some brand new.
They might be underneath. Russia is huge, massive. They might be over there doing the same stuff.
So they're definitely on a different team.
Oh yeah, they don't play with us, with the U.S. They have no love for the U.S. at all, and we already know that Russia's in a power grab right now. They're trying to basically, bring the third Roman Empire back. They're trying to take over everything, and they're trying to essentially make it so that they're running stuff, and essentially they kind of are, more or less. But
they're definitely getting close to it.
Yeah, they're doing land grabs and doing whatever they want, so they're pretty much taking over. There's nothing that we can do about it, but it's definitely going to be some sort of battle at some point pretty soon. So anyway, the World Economic Forum is a Swiss nonprofit foundation based in Coligny, Geneva, and describes itself as an independent international organization committed to improving the state of the world by engaging business, political, academic, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industrial agendas. The truth has no agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Always remember that. So I don't know what's going to happen as a result of that, if anything. And then, like we said, then if they're saying that, then they obviously know something. I was watching videos that indicated that they did visit them as well. The same, set of dudes, if you will, and went over there and was like, look, we need to drink vodka and test
We'll
on
talk in the morning.
on your people. So we need to set up, and we'll give you technology. So like the Nazis really believed in that stuff. They were all about
They loved them.
all kinds of like astrological stuff. They were very deep into that kind of shit. Very deep. Hitler was all about that shit. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Which is scary because he dominated a lot of the world quite quickly as well.
And the way he went about doing it is the same way that Russia is going about doing it right now.
Literally politically.
Which is how they're moving into and getting cozy with the Vatican. They're trying to become the religious country. And the U.S. cannot be that because the U.S. is allowing gay marriage, transgenderism, this whole
and everything now.
Right. So there's all kinds of stuff going on that the U.S. is seemingly, like, if you look at it from like a very broad perspective, if you will, that it seems like the U.S. is doing a lot of stuff that would play into the hands of Russia or whatever's going on out there, that it's not a stable nation. It's a very young nation anyway, so it's very young over there. You look like you're about to fall asleep. You all right?
No, I'm just very intrigued. Like, there's literally so many neurological pathways just being expanded right now in my head.
So
I'm just trying to keep up with you guys.
But it's to a point where the United States is almost they are seemingly thumbing their nose at religion, because from an outside perspective, I'm not a religious person and I'm not gay. Okay, so if you're gay, then the church doesn't want to participate in your marriage, right? So therefore, the church hates gays. So if you're Christian and you go to church and your beliefs are this, then it can't be in support of that. So if you're that, then your beliefs are, I should be able to marry my boyfriend, or I should be able to marry my girlfriend if I'm a man or a woman, whatever. Then I can't be in alignment with the church because they don't believe in that. So now there's this whole division between these two major entities right now. And it's weird. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like there's nothing that...
Because there's so many variables going on at the same time, you can't really pinpoint a certain thing at one given time, because while you're looking deeper at one sort of pathway of whatever's going on right now, which is crazy, you lose sight of what's going on behind you or over there, and then that's already happened, and then you have to somehow collectively gather your own information and
Decipher it
somehow
through knowledge.
the best you can do is take a educated guess as to what is really going on, because that's the best you can do right now. And I think even well-informed people are struggling very hard in terms of if there's being information being repressed by the media. I mean, five billionaires in the UK pretty much own every media outlet that we read, whether it's online news, whether it's magazines, publishers. They own all of that stuff. So even the people that are in the know, I think they're struggling or to get their voice heard as well. So it's a very difficult but yet interesting time
It is
to be
because-
alive.
Yeah, even that as well. Because being into the know, if they do reveal everything at the end of the day, it's like revealing that magic's real, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's like everything you're told not to believe from a kid, or that is a fairy tale from a kid, like potentially has some sort of faith or structure to it. As in the fact that mystical things can happen and take place.
That's a very interesting sort of metaphor that you use though, like magic. So as a kid, you look at magic and you're like, oh, how'd you do it? And then you grow
Yeah.
up a little bit, you're like 12, 15, and then you read a book and then you're like, oh, that's how you do this trick.
Yeah, for real.
But then if someone does something truly astonishing and amazing, you can't describe it.
Yeah, for real.
Then
That's
that's
exactly
that's very,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting sort of metaphor that you've, magic.
magic, man.
If you learn one thing today, people, magic.
Magic. It's out there. It is out there.
So yeah, so we're not in, so we don't know if Dimitrov has Dmitry I can't say his Russian name.
What's that?
Medvedev.
Medvedev's. Yeah.
has warned Obama.
No,
but
yeah,
was
but-
that itself the warning? But
it sounds like it, but
we'll have to wait till October to find
Isn't
out.
Sky hosted by the US?
is what?
Isn't Sky News hosted by the US?
No, that's English
That's
stuff.
Murdoch.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So apparently, back on Dmitry Medvedev, he was asked by one of the reporters if the president is handed secret files on aliens when he receives the briefcase needed to activate Russia's nuclear arsenal.
Знаете абсолютно все. Ну вот, например, прилетали на Землю инопланетяне. Вот те самые зеленые человечки.
Марьян, значит, рассказываю вам первый и последний раз. Вместе с передачей чемодана с ядерными кодами президенту страны приносят специальную папку. На ней написано «Совершенно секретно». И она целиком и полностью посвящена пришельцам, которые посетили нашу планету. Одновременно предоставляется доклад от абсолютно закрытой спецслужбы которая занимается контролем пришельцев на территории нашей страны. Значит, две эти папки передаются вместе с ядерным чемоданом. После прекращения полномочий, соответственно, эти папки передаются новому президенту. Более подробную информацию на эту тему вы можете получить, посмотрев известный хроникально-документальный фильм «Люди в черном». Вышло несколько версий.
Сколько их среди нас? не
Сколько их
расскажете.
среди нас, рассказывать не буду, потому что это может вызвать панику.
He responded, along with the briefcase with nuclear codes, the president of the country is given a special top secret folder. So the president is given.
Because the nuke codes aren't secret enough.
Yeah,
This
right.
is the real secret
is
folder.
something more.
So hold on now. The folder is in its entirety contains information about aliens who visited the planet. Along with this, you're given a report of the absolutely secret special service that exercises control over aliens on the territory of our country. More detailed information on this topic you can get from a well-known movie called Men in Black. I will not tell you how many of them are among us because it may cause panic.
For real though.
So,
And when he says Men in Black, he's not referring to the US blockbuster. Of
yeah, no, he is
yes,
talking about
yes,
that.
he's
But yeah, so Western news sources reported
So
what
you're
he was
trying to
saying.
integrate a normal
Yeah,
life.
and they said that he was joking as he mentioned the movie Men in Black, which they wrongly assumed was a reference to the 1997. So you're probably right. So it's not that. It's
Yeah, it was the
documentary
that's also
right.
called
Men in Black, America's
And
sci-fi
that's a
adventure
Russian
comedy about two restaurants.
documentary, and
He was
it's-
referring to the American movie, but he wasn't referring to that movie, but was talking about a famous Russia movie documentary, Men in Black, which details many UFO and alien anomalies.
one.
Right. So it wasn't the Will Smith. Who's the other dude? It doesn't matter. So it wasn't talking about that shit. It was
good
talking
movie,
about, talking about
but
something
not
else.
not what we're looking at.
Not realistic. So yeah, so apparently there's something that's gonna happen soon, real soon. I keep saying October. You never know until it happens.
Exactly.
And you kind of almost hope it happens, but at the same time, you get so used to this normalcy bias, if you will. Things are the way they are, and then a lot of people won't even entertain the notion that something could happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, remember when they flew planes into our fucking buildings? And it's like that was the whole normalcy bias was gone out the window at that point because you'd never seen anything like that outside of Hollywood. So that plan. See, actually going back, so I'm going to go into a whole episode on this. Not tonight, about the Russia was doing this. Sorry, not Russia. Remember how I told you that the Muslims were in Nazi Germany training with Hitler. I can't remember the guy's name, so I won't even try to remember or say what his name was. But he was over there, and he was in there with Hitler, man. He was in there. I mean, I got video of him sat right next to this guy talking with his heads of state. And he learned all his hatred and ideas from the Nazis. So, and anyway, the Nazis had planned on taking these piggybacks, and what they were going to do is they were going to fly this massive plane to the U.S. because they knew that New York, or at least they thought that New York was just like the center of Judaism in the United States, right? Now, what they were going to do is they were going to fly this massive bomber towards the U.S., and they were going to have all these smaller planes piggybacked to this plane.
Called the meeting with a select group of high-ranking Nazis. Among them was Albert Speer, who wrote, "In the latter stages of the war, I never saw Hitler so beside himself as when, as if in a delirium, he was picturing to himself and to us the downfall of New York in towers of flame. He described the skyscrapers turning into huge burning torches and falling hither and thither, and the reflection of the disintegrating city in the dark sky." January 19, 1945, German automobile executive Dr. Fritz Nollinger offered a plan. It was called the piggyback method. Large transport planes would travel near the United States East Coast, carrying smaller planes underneath. Once in range of New York City, they would release the smaller planes and turn back to Germany. The smaller planes would continue on to their targets, not to shoot them, but to crash into them. They were suicide pilots. Their planes were the bombs. Hitler approved the plan, but the war ended before it could be carried out. 56 years later, Osama bin Laden would see that plan through. Both their reasoning and their methods exactly the same.
Right?
That is
I've
So-
never heard of that.
Right.
He was
So
on
now
that.
it's happened. Well, it did happen at 9/11 because the same guy that was over there with Hitler, I think it was Yasser Arafat, was his cousin. Another one of the guys that's a huge leader in the Islamic State was one of his followers, and one of his students was Osama bin Laden.
So wait, are you saying that the plane hit the towers? See,
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm
we're
just
starting
trying
a
to
whole
hold
other
on.
thing right
No,
now.
this is a whole nother episode. That's why I was saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is just
Twin
a
Towers
whole
is a whole
nother
nother
thing
episode.
going on right now.
Ah.
It's I probably that's why when
should
we were
probably do a
talking.
show about that,
That's why we
actually,
were
to be
talking
fair.
the other day, and you started talking about Russia and the aliens, and I was like, don't even bring that up right now because I got a whole nother
you're
episode
there,
just
you're
for
ready,
that
man.
because I'm like I don't want to get into it right now. So yeah, that's a huge.
Things to touch
There's
on.
all kinds of shit that's going on
It's
right
a
now.
scary world. It is. People
So-
need to educate themselves.
And it's like I got that timeline. I was looking at it last night about how Germany like infiltrated. I think it was Czechoslovakia, and then the same month, and almost a couple days after, 70 some odd years later, is when Russia went into Crimea. Right, the exact same shit. So then, while Germany's over inside the other country, and they decided, oh, we're gonna get a treaty together to work this shit out. They did that. The same month, 70 some odd years later, Russia signs a treaty with the Ukraine to have a ceasefire.
Yeah, I remember that.
Germany's was voted in at like 99.7%, which is obviously a bit shady.
Yeah.
Russia's was 97%.
What?
So all this stuff took place, and all there's lots more. There's lots more, and they all line up on the exact same months, and they're on the game plan is the exact same
you
thing.
said, they're playing
so
chess.
yeah, the exact same thing took place back in the 30s, and when Hitler went in and took over all this stuff, they called it Anschluss, right? Which was it's obviously a German word. So when Putin went in and decided to move in on Crimea, and like I said, he's trying to bring back the Roman Empire and reunite the Soviet Union. I can't forget the name of the magazine, but they called it Putin's Anschluss. Like they named it the exact same thing. Like all this shit is the exact same stuff. It's really crazy. So anyway, we're fading off topic on the alien stuff.
As
We
we do
only
quite often.
we only got a few minutes left anyway. But any final thoughts on this whole alien thing on that side of the table?
I need to go watch these films you guys are telling me.
Utopia.
I would
Beyond
recommend you
Now
start
Beyond,
with
you guys say as
Utopia.
Start with Utopia.
I'll
yeah.
give you a link to a website. I don't know if it'll work. I'll tell you about it off air because I
little
probably don't want to
shady.
be saying that shit on the camera, but
But
it
no,
might be
I
available
think
there.
we should end with, like we rarely do, is do your own research about this. I mean, it sounds so outlandish to if you're not used to hearing stuff like this, but I mean, a simple Google search and flick through a few separate web pages so you can connect the dots yourself rather than someone do it for you. Just try and see what could potentially be going on there.
While we're in the last minutes as well, because I was looking up TV shows that were depicting some of the things. There was actually a show in Britain I remember my friend watching, and because he was a stoner, I never actually used to pay attention to this stuff until I started looking into this stuff. It was about reptiles, exactly what we said, coming to the planet, pretending to be our saviors and saving the earth. And this thing's called V. And as well as
That was
I'm
a
gonna
TV
start,
show.
yes.
Oh,
As well
yeah.
as I'm gonna start watching it, I think other people should watch that as well because that.
He hasn't even watched it, but I'm going to start watching
I'm
it, and
gonna
I
start
think you
watching
guys
it,
should
and
join
I
me
think
and
you
watch
should join
it.
me
Watch
and
that
watch it,
shit,
because I'll update you alongside each episode.
V
Damn.
was out in the 80s.
It was out in the 80s originally.
V was out in the 80s.
Wow.
And then it came back in like the late
2009.
90s or something. Was it that recent?
yeah,
It says
2009,
2009,
right here.
Was that
yeah.
recent? So V originally was a TV show in the
2011.
80s. So if you go to like imdb.com, that'll show you the original series and when it came out. Thanks for tuning in, and we're out of here. That's
Peace.
us done. So have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Peace.
Bye.